Good evening and welcome to Tally Times. I'm Carlos Yu.
And I'm Gregory Shine.
Audio Jungle.
Good evening and welcome to Tally Times. I'm Carlos Yu.
And I'm Gregory Shine.
And we're reporting you live from our studio. Tonight we dive into the pages of history to explore a relevant map that played a pivotal role during one of the darkest chapters of human history.
Tally Times exclusive here. Today, we're going to take a look at one of the textile factories that women operated during World War II when men were off fighting the war. It's closed, but as a Tally Times exclusive, it's open for us. So, this is a textile factory that women worked in. You can see all the textiles that they made during the war to contribute to the industries that were falling because of all the fighting that the men had to do. Go.
Good evening, and welcome to Tally Times. I'm Payne Sonaga. Our top story sheds light on the disturbing discovery in Poland, Nazi concentration camps, symbols of humanity's darkest chapter.
Have you or a loved one served in the U.S. military? If so, the GI Bill may help you. In the aftermath of World War II, America stood at a crossroads. Millions of veterans returning home faced uncertainty and challenges as they came back into civilian life. But the GI Bill of Rights appeared in 1944, offering hope. The GI Bill provided the brave servicemen and women with the opportunity for education, job training, and home ownership. It went beyond being a simple piece of legislation. It was a promise to respect their sacrifice and make investments in their future. Millions of Americans have benefited from the GI Bill's transformational impact by pursuing their dreams and succeeding in life today, leaving a legacy that lasts.
This map is more than just lines and colors. It's a testament to the strategies, maneuvers, and geopolitical intricacies that define World War II as a whole. Known as the Operation Overlord Map, it was instrumental in planning one of the most audacious military campaigns in history, the Allied invasion of Normandy.
On June 6, 1944, Allied forces stormed the beaches of Normandy in a daring attempt to liberate Western Europe from Nazi occupation. Behind the chaos and heroism of that fateful day lay months of meticulous planning, much of which was visualized on this very map.
Oh, what's going on? Why are you filming me? Wait, you said you want me to read some scripts? No, that's my brother, the nerdy one with the afro. I guess I can read them for you. Let me take a look at this. World War II, D-Day invasion. You want me to read this in like a news reporter voice, like my nerdy brother, Greg? I'll see what I can do. Come here. Good evening. My name is Jordy Shine, replacing my brother, Gregory Shine, who's sick, per usual, never making any plans or working on his job. This is Tally Times, and it's a great day to be. After years of planning and preparation, the Allies were ready to open a second front in Western Europe and liberate the continent from those pesky Nazis. Code name Operation Overlord. The D-Day invasion would see over 150,000 American, British, Canadian, and other Allied troops land on the beaches of Normandy, France. What could possibly go wrong? Stop. In the early hours of June 6th, Allied airborne forces parachuted glided into Normandy countryside, securing key objectives in Normandy, not landing in any cow pastures. What a knee slapper there. As the sun rose, the naval bombardment began, softening up those German advances on the coast. The Nazis were about to hit a move and then cut that. Despite taking heavy losses, the Allies were able to establish a foothold at Omaha Beach. Sure, it was a bit messy, but what happens when you try to invade a heavily fortified coastline? You get what I'm saying? The important thing is they didn't let a little gunfire and artillery stop them. These Allied troops were tougher than the old boot leather. See what I mean? Thank you.
As we continue our journey through the canals of World War II, our focus now shifts from the maps that guided armies to the leaders who shaped the course of history. Let's take a moment to remember some of the key figures who led their nations through the tumultuous years of conflict. Back to
Okay, it's fine. In the United States, President Franklin D. Roosevelt steered the nation through the Great Depression and into the war against fascism. His steady leadership and vision for a better world laid the groundwork for the Allied victory.
across the nation, across the Atlantic, British Prime Minister Winston Churchill rallied his countrymen with his stirring speeches and indomitable spirit. His resolve in the face of adversity inspired millions and earned him a place among the greatest leaders of the 20th century.
In the Soviet Union, Joseph Stalin led the fight against Axis power with ruthless determination. Despite the staggering losses suffered by his people, Stalin's iron will and strategic prowess helped turn the tide of the war on the Eastern Front.
On the other side of conflict, Adolf Hitler rose to power in Germany with promises of national renewal and racial supremacy. His tyrannical regime plunged the world into darkness and brought untold suffering to millions.
The leaders, both Allied and Axis, who played their part in this global struggle. From General Dwight D. Eisenhower to Emperor Hirohito, their decisions and actions shaped the course of history and left an indelible mark on the world.
As we dive deeper into the history of World War II, our focus now shifts from the individuals who led their nations to the systems of government that defined the era. Specifically, we turn our attention to the characteristics of totalitarian regimes that emerged during this horrific period of America.
Totalitarianism, a term coined in the 20th century, where a single social party or leader shows control over every aspect of private and public life. During World War II, several countries fell under the grip of such regimes, each characterized by distinct features that set them apart from democratic societies.
In Nazi Germany, Adolf Hitler's regime employed a combination of propaganda, censorship, and terror to maintain its hold on his power. The cult of personality surrounding Hitler, coupled with the ruthless suppression of dissent, created an atmosphere of fear and obedience among the German people. What do you think?
Similarly, in fascist Italy under Benito Mussolini, the state controlled all aspects of life, from the economy to the media. Dissent was not tolerated and opposition parties were banned, leaving the fascist parties free to impose its ideology on the population.
In the Soviet Union, Joseph Stalin's communist regime wielded absolute power through a combination of state-sponsored propaganda and political repression. Opposition to the Communist Party was met with swift and severe punishment, including the imprisonment of exile or even execution. Why are you laughing?
Militaristic.
Okay.
Meanwhile, in militaristic Japan under Emperor Hirohito, the government promoted a nationalist and expansionist agenda, glorifying the emperor and indoctrinating the population with a sense of loyalty and duty to the state.
Despite their differences, these totalitarian regimes shared common characteristics, including the suppression of individual freedoms, the glorification of the state or leader and the use of propaganda to manipulate the public opinion. What do you think about that, guys?
As we reflect on the horrors of totalitarianism during World War II, let us remember the importance of defending democracy, human rights, and the rule of the law. Only by confronting tyranny and oppression can we ensure that the mistakes of the past are not repeated in the future. Throughout the 1930s, the United States adhered to a policy of isolationism, seeking to avoid entanglement in the affairs of Europe and Asia.
The turning point came on December 7th, 1941, when Japanese forces launched a surprise attack on the U.S. naval base at Pearl Harbor, Hawaii. The devastation brought by this unprovoked act of aggression shocked the American people all over the nation.
Just one day after the attack, President Franklin D. Roosevelt appeared before Congress to deliver his famous Day of Infamy speech calling for a declaration of war against Japan. In the weeks that followed, Germany and Italy, allies of Japan, also declared war on the United States, plunging the nation into a global conflict.
The decision to enter the war was not taken lightly. It was driven not only by the shock of Pearl Harbor, but also by a recognition of the threat posed by totalitarian regimes to the principles of democracy and freedom that America held dear.
As American servicemen and women prepared to take arms against tyranny, they did so with a clear understanding of the sacrifices that lay ahead. From the beaches of Normandy to the jungles of the Pacific, they would fight not only to defend their country, but to uphold the values of liberty and justice for all.
And we're back to tell you about how 1930s totalitarianism compares to religious fundamentalism in the U.S. today. For those unaware, totalitarianism is a form of government in which the government and policies prohibit individual thought and any opposition to the leaders of the government. These governments control the daily lives of all citizens. Religious fundamentalism, on the other hand, is a belief that the government should make rules that abide by religious texts, such as the Christian Bible. This often means censorship of certain media and shutting down and controlling people who oppose religious texts. Sound familiar? That's right, they're nearly the exact same concept. In the 1930s, it was generally agreed by Americans that in the U.S., that the totalitarian governments were inherently wrong. And we had to fight against those governments to protect our freedom and basic human rights. What are we doing in response to religious fundamentalism today? Well, the U.S. government has been taking steps to protect those targeted by the totalitarian fundamentalists as of late. It has started to respond to these fundamentalists by passing bills and court rulings that state that these fundamentalists that run individual states cannot pass laws that discriminate or infringe upon the individual freedoms of minorities, such as those under the LGBTQ plus umbrella, women, and those of non-Christian religions such as Jewish people, Muslims, and many more. This has been Tally News Network, signing off.
And now, as we shift from the United States entry into World War II, we now shift our focus to Bella Grabowski and her take on the remarkable role that woman played in the workforce. Thank you, this is Gregory Shine, signing off, and my assistant, Tyler Shields.
Assistant?
You read lessons.